This video will not be aired as a live premiere. It's a bit of an emotional thing for me to record it and then edit it and then watch it again with you guys. I'm terribly sorry. There will be another live premiere on the 1st of March. In the meantime, go ahead and enjoy the video, and I hope that if 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 you're in a position where your Etsy shop failed and you feel alone, I hope that this video will help you out. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mermaid and I teach creative people how to sell their art online. And today is a video that I thought for a long time that I wanted to do. I think that it was on my list for, I don't know, several months, and if to put it like in a nice title, it's 9 reasons why all my Etsy shops failed and what I learned from it. And if you see the title of the video, there is something about chronic illness and mental health, and that's because it's one of the main reasons why they failed. And I will go into that later on. But the purpose of this video is to share some struggles, because I know that a lot of people feel like they're alone with their struggles, or it's just them. Because I remember mentioning in one of my videos that I was trapped in this cycle that the minute that something succeeds in my life, I shut it down. And there were a lot of comments as well as DMs saying, hey, I thought I was the only one. So because I'm trying to create a real community here, because I really want us to support each other, that's one of the reasons why I'm making this video. The second reason is because some of these reasons have nothing to do with mental health, and they would be struggles of other people. And I don't know, I don't want anyone to feel alone in their struggle. And also, I think that sometimes it's not just about the feeling, but knowing that someone else failed because of a certain reason, maybe will get you to understand that this is the reason why something is failing, or like to validate this reason in your mind and to make space for success with that reason in mind. So, you know what? Let's just get started. I literally wrote it down. I actually wrote it down and then wrote it down again. And these sort of reasons sort of lead to each other. And some of them, again, as I said, have nothing to do with any mental condition, any physical, but the rest of them have to do with a combination of certain conditions, which will be mentioned more in this video than in any other ones of my videos. And I would like to ask you for something, and I know that it might be hard. I don't want any pity. I don't want any, oh my God, I can't believe you're going through this. This is terrible. I really don't want it, because pity and talking yourself down and listening it from other people and reading it in text is extremely heartbreaking. So just a bit of a background, I had a spinal injury in 2008 while in a car accident while in my army service, and I was better, and then it got worse about a year and a half, 2 years after. I broke both of my knees when I was 16. I have a break in my foot that no one knows where it came from. I have problems with both of my shoulders. I later on injured not just my lower back in that car accident, but the middle back as well as the upper back, which was affected by chronic dislocation of my left shoulder. I think it was in about 2013 that it was clear already that I have fibromyalgia. I'm a sexual assault survivor from sexual assault in my early teen years, and I was diagnosed with PTSD from the army service in 2015. Even though I was discharged in 2009 at the war that was in the beginning of the year, but it took a while for all of these symptoms to manifest. And I was working very like physical jobs. That was what I liked, as well as my service. And then following the back injury, I had to go more into office jobs, which was totally not what I wanted to do, but you know, you need to make money. And then I started working for media companies after forming some of my own blogs. And for a while, it was like perfect because I was making a huge amount of money working in the tech and media industry in Israel, like fancy offices, fancy salary, sometimes 3, 4, 5 times more than minimum wage. And then came the PTSD, which didn't allow me to work anymore. And that's when I started my business of building websites and doing marketing services and SEO content writing, and started getting a little bit more into graphics and marketing than I was from before. And following that, I suffered a brain problem in 2017, which created a series of tics and mini seizures that I live with till this day. So this is pretty much a background. And again, no pity, guys. I believe in, this is what it is. Pitying myself is really not going to work. I do have like pity episodes, but I try to look forward and really recognize that this has played a huge part in me failing in a lot of things along the way. I mean, I was always able to do something for a living other than when COVID started, which pretty much shut down my business. Right before COVID started, I was doing consulting for Etsy sellers. I was building Etsy stores for other people. I was building websites and coaching for other people. And I sort of fell into this niche of coaching how to open an Etsy store. And the majority of my clients were from Italy or from Spain. And if you guys remember how COVID started, well, it's pretty much started from there. And then I had to leave Romania. I wasn't even in my country to go back to my country. Everything was sort of in this chaos. So there has been several things along the way that affected that and also affected the reason why I kept coming back to Etsy in times that I didn't want to work with direct clients on longer projects. Now, the Etsy stores that I've had throughout the years were okay, so I had several stores connected with Printify. The main one of them I keep mentioning in my videos because whenever I order something from Printify, I get it from Dainty Mugs, which was a store that I set up to sell really funny, quirky mugs. And I actually like those designs. I went back to Canva a bit to check out my older stuff, and I kind of liked it. I also had a shop that sold printable wall art. I think that throughout the past few years, I've had 9 or 10 different stores for printable wall art of various kinds. Sometimes there was a full store like with all the sizes of printable art of some kind. There was a full video, by the way, about sizes and DPI, one of my first videos in this channel. So I'll leave a link to that one down below because I know that a lot of people like that video. And sometimes it was selling like quirky sentences and funny stuff and mostly focusing on US letter size and A4 because, it's mostly for people to print at home. Sometimes it was very niched. I did a lot of niche designs for people who play the guitar. And I'm actually thinking of going back to that as a niche, like to put it in one of my niches in TeePublic, as well as to make a video about that. And I've also had Etsy stores for baby onesies, like baby jumpsuits. I've had 3 Etsy stores to sell printable coloring pages. I had a full store with printable greeting cards. I had stores with stationery. I even have a store now that's called Arroyo Arts, and I opened it to sell printable wall art of different and various designs. And then I changed it into selling graphic elements and like fonts and graphics and clip art for print on demand commercial use. And then I deleted those, and I'm still thinking if I want to utilize that shop to sell some of my current designs, either on printable cards or any other thing. And I will explain that at the end why that store is basically not a place where I want to sell to, basically you guys, viewers of the channel who are looking for graphics, because I am doing it on PayHip. And I will elaborate more on why at that point. So you know what, let's just get started with reason number 1. Too many ideas. Now, throughout my time here in Bansko, because I'm living here and surrounded by other digital nomads who travel while working online, and they all come up to me and they're like, oh my God, you're so lucky because you have all these different ideas in your head. And I'm like, you have no idea how much all of these ideas are actually paralyzing you. I mean, I have ideas right now written down in my notebook for like, I don't know, 17 different projects. And even if I was healthy and didn't need like sleeping at all, this is still impossible. And I remember I just had so many ideas. And when you have too many ideas, it creates 2 problems. The first one is, you don't know what to choose and what to start with. And the second one is that if you have a lot of ideas, the second that something doesn't work as fast as you thought, you're like, oh, but maybe that idea was better. So I should do that idea first, because it does take time for things to start, making you money and start progressing, especially if you're approaching a new niche. I mean, for example, I have friends that have YouTube channels about coding or about, a certain tutorial topic, like for developers. And if they started, doing something for print on demand or printables that is relating to that niche, they already have an audience and it's most likely they will see sales right away. But if you're starting a new brand, a new name, a new idea, then starting all the marketing for it and really learning it, and it takes time for that topic to start. And having too many ideas will eventually get you to go like, maybe I chose the wrong idea. Oh, I have a list of other ideas. Maybe I should do that. The second reason why all my Etsy shop failed is that I hate repetitive work. And okay, so for example, I can look into a shop of someone, and I was doing it when I was doing consulting and showing them how to take the photos that they made of their products. Because also, like, I was consulting people who were selling actual, like, handmade stuff, like jewelry or pottery and stuff like that. And I could show them how to take a photo of what they've done and create a Pinterest pin and basically create 7 different designs of a Pinterest pin and then upload it onto Pinterest and then send it to the shop. And that's something that they need to do with a different product every single day. And that's repetitive work. And also, like, I designed these like amazing greeting cards. Okay, so now let's download each and every one of those printable greeting cards in PDF and then in JPEG, because you need the PDF to sell it to the client and you need the JPEG to create the mockup. And it's best to have at least 5 photos when you're opening an Etsy store for every single product. And then, you're placing all of those in the mockup, and then you're downloading all the mockups, and you're, duplicating a listing and uploading. Oh my God, I'm getting a headache just describing it. I really do hate repetitive work. A lot of the things that I really liked, and this also comes up to a lot of the reasons why my affiliate websites were not successful, because I would get bored from this repetitive work. So this hatred towards repetitive work is really crippling, because you can't really do anything, because having a long-term business is doing repetitive work. And whenever I think about all the reasons why my Etsy shops failed, I keep looking into the reasons why I'm being able to stick with a YouTube channel, because if there is something repetitive here that I don't like to do, I can just not do it. There are no rules. I can create videos about whatever I want. And also, jumping from topic to topic, I can do it in the channel, and it satisfied my first problem, which is too many ideas. This whole repetitive work is also affecting my work with Society 6, because I'm sitting with my iPad and I'm designing this like liquid art. And I'm designing them on 7,500 by 6,000 pixels. And then I need to take that file, that creativity, that fun part, and go to Clip Studio Paint and create an 11,000 by 11,000 pixel size pattern from that. And then create a 10,000 by 16,000 and then upload it to Society 6 and do it all over again by taking my creativity and placing it within a repetitive pattern. And of course, I can just upload it as is, but it won't be good on all of the products, which leads me to problem number 3. Sometimes when you have, I don't want to sound like patronizing, but too much knowledge, you know how to do things, so everything has to be perfect. And that's why every single time that I had an idea for an Etsy store or for anything, whether it's print on demand or printables, I would try to make it perfect. And by making it perfect, I mean a Pinterest account just for that, and an Instagram account just for that, and a Facebook page just for that, and a website just for that, and diving deeper into that niche. And because you're trying to make everything perfect, that's the reason why I'm not physically capable of taking a 7,500 pixel by 6,000 pixel design and uploading it to Society 6 without creating all these variations, because I have the knowledge that knows that I need all of them to create all these other products. And I also have the knowledge of how to create them. And it's having all of this knowledge sometimes, and I'm not saying, again, I'm not trying to patronize people who know less about marketing or know less about these, but having the knowledge of how to create the perfect pin, how to do the branding for everything on Instagram, and exactly what I need to do every day makes me want to do it in a perfect way. And trying to do these things perfectly takes an enormous amount of time, which leads me to number 4, not having that time, because while I'm doing this, I'm also working for money. Like, I'm starting these shops while I'm also working on other things for other people. And whether it's like building websites for other people or still doing consulting and doing like private lessons. And those works were exhausting to me. Dealing with clients, dealing with expectations for someone with PTSD is extremely difficult. I mean, I remember I set up this meeting with a client, and she was like, she had all day free. Like, she could do my consulting every single day that I chose and every hour that I chose. And I remember I was emailing back to her, to set up the time because we were supposed to schedule a 3-hour conversation. And I remember writing down the email for her to schedule it. And I was like, okay, let's do it on Monday from, 9 till 12. And then I was thinking, but what's going to happen if I wake up on Monday paralyzed? Then it's going to be like minimum 11 a.m. that I can just get out of bed. So that won't work. And then I was like, yeah, changing the hours to between 2 and 5. And I was like, yeah, but what if I don't sleep all night? And then I usually crash around 12 in the afternoon because I'm like totally tired. And okay, so let's do it in the evening. But what if I have a seizure that day? What if I throw up all day? And what if she'll get disappointed because they're paying me in advance? Maybe I shouldn't tell people to pay me in advance. And this all thing gets inside your head and it takes up so much time. But then you actually have to do it because, you need to make money to live. So when will I work on my Etsy project? So I would have this, idea, and I would hate the repetitive work, but I do it because I know it has to be perfect. I know what needs to be done. And then there would be a period of like 4 weeks or 5 weeks where I wouldn't even touch that Etsy store because I don't have time physically, mentally, or even like regular time because I'm working. I just took on a big project for a client to build some big website or like long consultancy sessions. And then I know in my head that that I lost the momentum and there was another idea and that project would be ending. And that sort of leads me to number 5, which is changes in my health that also led to inconsistency. So it's not just periods of times where I was working on a different project or moving a country. And it wasn't just that, it was also changes in my health because I would start working on something. And I remember I set up a shop to do personalized illustrations. I got really good at those. And I even illustrated one of my best friends, like she looks like a mermaid. So I got really good at those. And I was just about to set up an Etsy shop for that. Like I already had all the things that I need, like how to do personal, I can do coloring pages from a person. I can do full on beautiful wall art paintings like of your wedding day or illustrate you as a mermaid. I even opened a website for that in Hebrew because I thought that there's not enough information for that in Hebrew. And I was opening the Etsy store for that. And then I moved into a new apartment and I did one wrong movement during the move and ended up 2 weeks unable to stand. And again, I can work from bed, right? I can illustrate all of these things from bed, even though I didn't have my iPad and it was all with my Wacom tablet connected to my computer using Clip Studio Paint. But working from bed wasn't the problem. Once I was paralyzed, it's pretty much takes you like half an hour or an hour every time you want to go to the bathroom because you're crawling on the floor. And, just the task of making yourself food or getting changed and your day's gone. Like sometimes when you have a chronic illness, you can spend any time between 4 hours and 4 months on survival mode. And it's not just that you won't have time, but you won't have any desire to do anything for anyone. And again, that led to these inconsistencies. And at the end of an inconsistency, if you have a lot of other ideas, you just move on to the next one, which leads me to number 6, that high you get when you're starting a new project. Some people like to call it shiny new thing syndrome, and I also like to call it, hey, I can do that too. And that came from advertising Etsy shops on my blog and helping Etsy clients because I would see something that someone does and I'll be like, I can do that. I would literally consult a client on their printable wall art store and I know their difficult spots, I know why they're failing, and I know that I can do that too. And then I would delete my Etsy store and I was like, oh no, that's a better idea. And then I would get in love, so in love with that thing. And the problem with the shiny new thing syndrome is that it drains you. You feel like this over motivation to do something. And I think that I don't remember which YouTuber I saw that was talking about this, but motivation is killing your online business because motivation is not going to last for as long as it takes for the business to succeed. And when you're confronting something with so much motivation, you're head on, then everything else goes away and you're fully invested in this and it drains your energy so much. Shiny new thing syndrome is a killer. And I remember telling so many friends of mine, like, if you have a new idea, because I know that they also have the tendency to do that, if you have a new idea, I want you to write it down and I want you to look at it in 2 weeks and see if it's still a new idea. And then I want you to only limit yourself, like literally work with a clock, like work with an alarm clock to only work on this project 1 hour a day. Don't let yourself do it more because you'll fall deeper into the shiny new thing syndrome. And that kills a lot of Etsy stores, because when I say that, like, these are reasons why my Etsy shops failed, I closed myself each and every one of these Etsy shops, and none of them lasted for over 2 or 3 weeks because I closed them. And I think the majority of them were making sales when I closed them, which leads me to number 7 on my list, not actually having the motivation to succeed. And this also comes from a financial point of view, because when I was in Israel, like the expenses in Israel are so high, and you are sort of this on survival mode in terms of, like, I was, because of my disability, I'm getting also money from the government for all these months and years where I couldn't work along the way and couldn't work with clients. Like, I would take a project and I would get a lot of money and then I would give it back because I couldn't do this project because I wasn't well. And I would think to myself, like, the minute something starts to work for you, like, you know how they say, like, when you start out a new project, you need to celebrate your small wins, small victories. So, like, the first time you sell something on Etsy, but the first time I sold something on Etsy, that was $3 because it was a printables shop. And I remember one of my print on demand shops, I think it was with Guten, that I made so many sales at the beginning, but your margins are still low and it's going to take time to succeed. I didn't have the motivation to succeed because that amount of money, unless it will be times 20, means nothing to me in Israel. I didn't even have money to buy my medication. So there, there is no motivation to succeed when you only see depression. And I remember this was the biggest thing throughout the beginning of COVID, when no one could travel anywhere. And when I'm in Israel, my mental health is a lot worse because there's a lot more triggers to you where you are. And I learned that early on when I was traveling right after the army, as well as when I started traveling with my online business in 2016. And there are so many triggers all over the place where I pretty much can't leave the house unless I'm escorted with someone who can watch if I have a seizure, if something happens and I don't know, go crazy or get violent. I was a very different person back then. And even, like, 2017, when my seizures started, what kind of motivation do I have to succeed? Even if I become a millionaire, my life is not going to get better. I mean, of course, having money to pay rent and buy food will make my life a little bit better, but it will make my life better in terms of reducing my pain or stopping brain seizures. There is no amount of money that can make you happy when leaving the house literally causes you to faint. So what? I will work on all of this. So what? So I can pay medical bills? So I can get treatment. And you step into this loop of depression of, my life is never going to be good. So what is my motivation to succeed anyway? And that also connects in a way to number 8, which is not actually selling what I want to sell. And I mentioned in the beginning the Etsy stores that I had, several types of them, but I didn't mention the ones selling physical products. I didn't mention the fact that, like, when I started Print on Demand, and a lot of you guys know that I started it while I was suffering the brain injury and I couldn't do much of anything, and then it was just pretty to design some stuff and put them on Society 6 and Redbubble. But for me, another thing that I did with my time was sewing. Like, I managed to get to Tel Aviv, I remember, and buy a lot of fabrics. I remember when I came home, I was like paralyzed for 3 days just from carrying that amount of fabrics. And I don't even remember where I got the money. I think it was a loan. And I bought all these fabrics and I made quilts and I made over 300 bags and purses. Really good stuff. And I don't compliment myself a lot. Really fancy stuff. And I brought a friend of mine. I remember it was like a few apartments. Like, I moved an apartment after, and I brought her to my house and she was modeling all my stuff We did a full day of filming session and everything was perfect. The branding, the name. I had a name that basically says handmade in Thai. It was kind of cool. And everything was perfect. And I set everything up and I was so excited because I really do love doing something with my hands. And then I remembered, like, if someone's gonna order, I'm gonna have to go to the post office. What if I can't? What if I'm paralyzed for a week? What if I go to the post office and there are 10 people there and I have a seizure from an anxiety episode of so many people there and I close that store again? And then I was in Thailand and I was going to stay in Thailand long term. I was already there for 5 months. I had paid for school to learn Thai. I speak a significantly good amount of Thai to get by, but studying Thai as an official course is a great way to get a visa, like a 1 year visa that I can stay in Thailand. And I was making these bracelets. I fell in love with them. I call them Mermaid Bracelets. I think that's the name of them. And I was making them from strings and beads that I found in like markets in Bangkok and markets in Vientiane in Laos. And I was in love with that idea. I remember I celebrated my 30th birthday. I was done with a major surgery that I had to do. I was on this high of constantly creating these beautiful bracelets. And I had also like other clients for other stuff. And my mental and physical health was never better. And then there was a problem that my passport would expire in 10 months. So I can't apply for a 1 year visa unless my passport has at least 1 year. And then I went to the Israeli embassy and they would only give me a passport with 1 year validity, which means that literally if they give me the passport and I go to Laos, because that's where you need to submit your application from a different country, literally if I go like within 2 days, the passport would no longer have 1 year validity. And that forced me to leave everything, to leave my apartment and to go back to Israel because I couldn't pay for my apartment and everything there. Well, buying a plane ticket, like buying a double plane ticket to Israel, that's a lot of money. So buying a back and forth ticket plus a lot of money on an Airbnb for 2 months in Israel, because it's really hard to find short-term rentals in Israel. So I would have to pay for a back and forth ticket from Thailand to Israel and then an Airbnb for 2 months so that I can wait in line to apply for the passport and get it, because it was a new biometric passport and it was taking forever for people to take. So I basically had to leave everything and just go back to Israel. And I spent a year and 3 months instead of a month or 2 months for these errands, because the minute I got there, my mental health and subsequently my physical health got so much worse. And I left all my stuff in that apartment. I left everything. I was sure that I was going to come back and I couldn't. And it also clashed with like the day I came back was the day my grandpa died. It was like everything was crashing. I had to renew my disability. I had to renew subscriptions for very like high level medication. And it just spiraled so much that all my bracelets and that business basically stayed in Thailand. It also led me back to the fact that even those things are not what I want to do. I mean, I would sit and I would make amazing mugs and they actually sold. They actually sold. But that's not what I want to do. I loved being a bartender, but I couldn't because I broke my back. I loved working for media companies. I was flying so many times to conferences and I was like this like heavy media marketing manager and everybody respected me and everybody was like, listening to every word. You literally go to work with PJs and fluffy shoes because no one cares, because you make the company so much money that you can show up to work with pajama and fall asleep on the table and no one cares. But I couldn't do any of these anymore. So what am I doing now? Selling mugs? And that was so demotivating for me. And it took me time to realize this because of reason number 9, which is I really like building stuff. I really do. I think that's why I was so good with working with clients on consulting this, because I would basically build someone's website. I would basically build someone's Etsy store. And every time it was a new topic, every time it was a new person with a new approach and a new target audience and research. And and SEO research, and I love SEO, and I love numbers and statistics and huge charts of stuff, and finding a new domain that fits, and setting up an Instagram, and doing the branding, and setting up a website, and setting up a store. And that's where I want things to stop, which is why I loved being that was the only thing I loved. I loved building WordPress websites for other people, but my mental health wouldn't allow it. And I think that all these reasons, and I'm going to repeat them: too many ideas, hating repetitive work, too much knowledge that makes me want to do everything perfect, and then my work for money would cut in the way because I had to, I didn't have unlimited time. I actually needed to work while doing this. And then changes in my health, which were the second contributor to inconsistency. And then the shiny new thing syndrome, which I also like to call, I can also do that. And then lack of motivation to actually succeed, and uh, not really selling what I want, and really like building stuff. And all of these together combine into closing every single store that I've opened, even though they made money. Even though I would open a store and I would put so much effort into the marketing and I would do it right, and it would start selling after 2, 3 days, and I'd shut it down. I said in the beginning that I'm going to talk about the current Etsy store that I shut down. And I think that one of the reasons why a lot of people turn to Etsy is because either lack of knowledge on how to build something else on your own, or, lack of knowledge, for example, like, building a Shopify store, building a WordPress store, but you have other option. I mean, PayHip is very easy to work with, and I have a PayHip store that I'm planning on using for my channel. But the second reason why people go onto Etsy is not just lack of knowledge of how to do anything else, but also to get traffic from Etsy. Now, I always say never rely on a platform for marketing, because you need to do your own. But it's good to have a platform because, you do your own marketing, and then it gets in, and then sort of you get traffic from both ends, and that's amazing. And doing marketing for selling stuff, like selling graphics and fonts and patterns for people who do print on demand, is pretty much like I'm making the bundle box that I started doing. And I think like so many pieces of that sold within 2 days, because I already have the audience for that. I'm already good with the marketing for that. So why would I do the repetitive work of uploading something to Etsy? I mean, if I want to upload something to my PayHip store, there is no algorithm that tells me what the size of the photo should be or how many photos. I can pretty much do it my way. I don't have to fill out this enormously insane, huge form every time you build something for Etsy. Every time you upload a listing, there's this huge, boring form. I don't have to do this when I'm uploading it to my own PayHip shop, because I already have marketing for it, which is why I'm moving the efforts that I invested in Etsy into my PayHip store, because I think that I have that audience there. I don't need to have that audience in Etsy, but I'm also keeping that store because I feel like in the past few weeks, when I really started diving deeper in, and I seriously have to thank the person who commented that I should check Skillshare, because there were some courses on Skillshare, one in particularly on painting in a certain way, that clicked with me and got me thinking, oh my God, this is what I want to paint. This is my art. I finally feel happy about something that I create, that doesn't make me feel sorry for myself that I was injured and can't work at a different job. And that would be the thing that I would put on Etsy. And that connects me to the lessons that I've learned from these, 6 years on Etsy. So, lessons I learned: one, if I'm not 100% into this topic, that shop is going to get closed. It annoys me, it upsets me, and it literally hurts my health to do something that I don't like. By the way, technically, as well as with a coccyx bone injury, I'm not supposed to do any type of work at all. Any type of work, sitting in front of a computer, sitting with the iPad, any movement in my life hurts me so much. So if I'm not really into it, why would I cause myself pain to do this? And I'm not saying again that everyone is like this, because I said that I want this video to be inclusive of everybody: mental, physical, chronic health problems, as well as healthy people. But if I'm not 100% into this topic, it's not going to work. I realized a long time ago that the motivation to create something because it could make me money is not enough. And I feel it more than ever here in Bansko. And I don't know if you know this, guys, but Bansko is extremely cheap. And the money I get from the Israeli government, I can still earn here. There is a mutual agreement between the country of Israel and several other countries where disabled people can still maintain their disability status. So Bulgaria is one of these countries. And the money that I make in Israel from the government is not enough to rent a studio in Tel Aviv. And for me, even though I was living on the outskirts of towns, like really far distant locations, bad apartments, like bad for my health, bad neighborhoods, even if I could afford an apartment, that money is still not enough to pay for food, for medication, and also all the years where my work was inconsistent, so I had to take loans for surgeries. That like money will be no reason for me more here. Like I remember saying I would work so hard to what? To have a little bit more food? That makes no sense. And then I came here, and the minute I settle down everything with my residency and I can stay here for as long as I want, the money I make from the Israeli government, I can literally not work at all. I don't have to have a YouTube channel. I don't have to, I can wake up in the morning and go walking down the city, and the money will be enough for me for food, for a nice apartment, and for everything that I'll need. I mean, even now as a couple, I think that our expenses amount to like 900 euros if we don't do anything like crazy, like go on trips or stuff. So it's really cheap living here. And for me, just money is not motivation for anything. And I'm not saying, I'm super blessed. I know that. I know that. I know that a lot of people with disability in Israel are still struggling. They go back to live with parents, with kids. They don't have either the knowledge or the option to relocate to a different country, or they don't want to leave their family or something like that. So I know I'm blessed. And I'm not saying like, don't start this thing because you need money, because a lot of people do start a business because of the money aspect. But don't choose a topic just because of the money. Don't do something just because it's trending. It won't be sustainable, guys. Seriously. The second lesson that I learned was that I can't have anything that revolves people depending on me be healthy at a certain point, like clients. So, for example, I will never have a shop where I make anything that is personalized. Anything, not even if it's to go in and change a name on a font, nothing. Because if I have a period of 4 days that I cannot even open my computer, then I can't have it. Like I will never have anything personalized. I'm saying it with great pain because I really do like making personalized stuff. I think that it's awesome. I think that it's one of the best niches, and I think I'm having a tutorial coming up in the next few days about how to set up a personalized portrait shop on Etsy, whether it's printables or print on demand, because I think it's an amazing topic and I loved doing it, but I can't. I can never have any business that depends on me providing something to someone. Everything I do have to be passive. That's why there are no memberships on this on my channel. That's why I don't do memberships with Buy Me a Coffee or with Patreon, because I don't want to commit to providing any kind of content to anyone. So maybe it's a cop out. Maybe it's a cop out, but I do know that it causes me so much stress to have someone need me. Okay, now you have to be creative. Now you have to make a portrait. I just can't do it. If you guys can, I envy you, and you can go ahead and watch a tutorial about tips that I have for that. If you have any creativity, I also checked out a lot of like Skillshare courses and have recommendations on some of them that can help you out with this process. But it's not for me. I will never do anything where I have clients and like in the aspect of they buy something from me and then I need to provide it to them myself. Never. The third thing that I learned is that I need a product that has meaning for me. And I see this, by the way, coming from a lot of veterans. I spent the last year that I was in Israel, I spent, in an organization with other veterans with PTSD, and all of them would be like, I literally fought for my country. I was serving, I was saving people, I was helping people. What am I doing now? And I often get it with YouTube as well. Like, I spoke to a friend of mine, I was to my boyfriend about this a few days ago, like, what am I doing with my life? And I think that in a way, one of the reasons why I didn't close my YouTube channel, even though I was on that delete button so many times, is because of you guys. Because some of you in your DMs really make me feel like I'm making a difference, which is why I'm making this video, which is extremely emotionally hard for me, because I want you to know that you're not alone, because me helping you makes me more consistent in this journey. So thank you guys. And I when I look at other products that have meaning for me, so I'm not just talking about YouTube. One of the reasons why I'm still able to upload things onto, to puzzles is because jigsaw puzzles really have a meaning for me. When the whole brain problems thing started, which was a combination of maybe I this whole period is very blurry to me. The medication that created a problem in my brain. I was almost diagnosed at the age of 28 with early onset Alzheimer's. I started forgetting stuff. I woke up one day in 2017 and it was 2008. I was on the street that day and 9 years went away from my life while sitting on a bench. I remember the first thing I did was actually, I was like, I went from my mom's house where I was for a few months. So I went to the bakery and ended up sitting on a bench and then blinked and realized I have keys in my hands. I have no idea where I am. I have a phone that I don't know how to use. In my head, it's 2008 and I have keys and 50 shekels. So I literally went into a cab and into a police station to ask them to call my unit so many years after being discharged. So jigsaw puzzles, any kind of puzzles, Sudoku, word games, anything that has to do with activating the brain literally has meaning for me, because it's one of the tips my doctor gave me to get my memory back and to reinstate myself, like to ground myself. So it was more Sudoku back then, and word games, or even just putting up letters and trying to come up with words with those letters, or doing like calculus, math exercises. But puzzles are a big thing of it. And I think when I was in Svetivlas at the beginning of the year, like end of last year and beginning of this year, I was sitting in front of a puzzle whenever I felt lost. So jigsaw puzzles have an emotional connection to me. Also, some of the stuff that I make, some of the actual art that I make has meaning for me, because it makes me connect to my feelings and my emotions. And again, the lesson is I can never do something that has no meaning for me. I can never sell a product that means nothing to me. And another lesson that I learned, because that is also true, by the way, for coloring pages. Coloring pages were an extremely good exercise for me. But the other lesson that I learned following the fact that I am no longer able to do coloring pages is that I have to leave out something that is just mine and not combine it with a business. Because if I close that business, if that business upsets me, then that is no longer my hobby, which is why I will never have a YouTube channel for playing my music. I have so many original songs and I'm keeping them as a hobby, which is why I'm going back to physical painting, and I'm not sure that I want to upload my paintings on to anywhere. So to sum up, if I'm not 100% behind a topic, I'm not going to do it. I am never going to work with clients on a long-term base, or if they need me at that moment. I always need a product to have meaning for me. My work has to be tied to something that I love, and I always need to leave out something for myself. So that was the 9 reasons why all my Etsy shops failed, why I closed every single Etsy shop, and the lessons that I learned from it. And if you like this video and found this content useful, please hit that like button down below, because it really does help my channel. And subscribe to my channel if you are not yet subscribed. I usually give professional content, not just super emotional stuff. Oh my God, I want to cry. And I'm reminding you of my no pity rule. I do not want to hear, oh my God, I can't believe someone is going through this. I'm literally telling you, if someone's going to write down a comment of the pain I'm going through or how they feel sorry for me, that comment will be deleted. If you will send me a DM with how much you feel sorry for me or you can't believe that a human being is going through so much pain, I will block you. I'm literally saying this has been the number one thing for me with my mental health, and this has been the number one rule for me: no pity. So please respect that, because it's not easy sharing this amount of information to basically everyone who will want to watch it. That this video is almost done. I just want to let you know what's coming, because after this video today would also be a video that I owed you. It's the video of me reviewing 3 Printful products. It was filmed in my other apartment. One of them is this. So I will be having that video in several hours from now, and we have some more videos coming up in the next few days, because monthly goals is on the 1st of March, as well as the new bundle box of the new month. And I do want to talk about how to find good things for print on demand on Creative Fabrica. You guys asked for that. And maybe also the how to sell personalized portraits on Etsy. And after that, I might be taking a break from making videos for about a week or two. I will update you when it's the monthly goals video. So the Printful video is going to be on in a few hours. It's not going to have a live premiere, but I will see you on Tuesday, the 1st of March, with my goals video at 7 p.m. Bulgaria time. And with that being said, that was it for me for today. Thank you so much for watching and letting me share. And you can always share your stories with me, whether it's on comments or on DMs, whether, I don't know, your Etsy shops are struggling or any kind of business is struggling because of your mental condition or because of any of the other reasons that healthy people have. And as usual, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!